I give the floor to Roman Vassilenko. Kazakhstan is a huge country in terms of territory, with very weighty neighbors, Russia, of course, but also China. You have a very bold and so far effective policy with President Tokayev to open yourself as much as possible economically, but also politically to the West, and particularly to the European Union. President Tokayev was a state visit in Paris recently. So you have some experience, probably the founder of this concept of multi-vector policy. So first, could you tell us a little bit about the Ukraine situation? Ukraine to start with. That is, do you believe that there is a real chance now to move towards some kind of diplomacy that could end to the end of this war? But also, do you think there is still a risk of escalation, even though the election of Trump probably has reduced this probability, but who knows? So what is your analysis as of today?
Thank you so much, dear Mr. Thierry de Montbrel. Merci beaucoup. Before going into Ukraine, can I still explain why this multi-vector foreign policy, why Kazakhstan? But first I will take a little bit of issue with your words earlier just now about the taking sides and the forcing countries to take sides. You know, we think that the only side as the international community, and I still would like to believe we are an international community, the only side we should be all taken is the side of cooperation, not confrontation. The side of the international law, not lawlessness. The side of mutual benefit and win-win, and not mutual exclusion and zero-sum games. And that's the approach we have been pursuing for the past 30 years. You know, as you were talking about Kazakhstan sort of coming up with this idea 30 years ago, I had a flash in my mind, and I thought about a Kazakh home. It's a yurt. It's a round felt house, which doesn't have any corners, where you naturally taking corners, going into different corners like in a boxing ring is naturally against the mentality of Kazakhstan. And that's why perhaps living in such a huge landmass as that you mentioned, but neighboring even bigger neighbors, we have pursued this multilateral, multi-vector, pragmatic, constructive foreign policy since independence. And as a result of this, we have avoided so far, touch wood, the situation where we would have tense or even bad relations with any country in the world, including our neighbors. And naturally we are proud of that, and naturally we think that this experience can be shared. Of course, other countries' experiences are different. They are in different geographical situations, they have different neighbors, but the challenges are similar. And I think the response can only be through greater engagement and through greater search for this mutually beneficial cooperation. There's always scope for such cooperation, and I agree with you that this war in Ukraine should never have happened and could have been avoided. I'm not talking about appeasement, but I'm talking about constructive engagement, listening and hearing what the other side has to say. And being realists, pragmatists, we think that still there is a chance that this situation will go according to the first scenario that you outlined in your opening remarks, that there is a growing recognition both in Russia, in Ukraine, and in the West, that it is unsustainable to go on like that, to continue this war Otherwise, this will be the war until the last Ukrainian. Is this what the West wants? I don't think so. And you mentioned Donald Trump. Yes, everybody's expecting what's going to happen on January the 20th when he assumes office. I still think, despite the unclearness, lack of clarity as to what exactly he, as a leader of the United States, would want to put on the table, but I still think that this rather radical change in approach that he and his administration are going to bring to the table will have an impact, will give a jolt to this situation. For a very long time, there was this motto of the West staying with Ukraine for as long as it takes. That's an excellent motto. But as long as it takes until what? And it looks like Trump, his administration, are really going to look for solutions, and I hope that they look for solutions together with the European Union and together with Ukraine. Because I think in Russia there's also a realization that this war can go on for a long time. From their standpoint, I have recently been to Moscow, and that's, palpable. But I think economically there will be much bigger challenges ahead, and for Russia, they too would be interested in some kind of a settlement. That's exactly what President Tokayev mentioned publicly, including when he met Olaf Scholz, when he met Emmanuel Macron in Paris. And as a country that maintains ties with both Russia, Ukraine, with the West, we still remain open to playing any role if we are asked to play any role if we need in that room, or maybe even serving tea to serve as a platform for these peace talks to take place. So we think that the only solution is through diplomacy.
Well, thank you very much.